over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a dome in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." So God made the dome and separated the waters that were under the dome from the waters that were above the dome. And it was so. God called the dome sky, and there was evening, and there was morning the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called sea. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth put forth vegetative plants, yielding seed and fruit trees, and every kind on earth that bear fruit with the seeds in it." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed of every kind, and trees of every kind bearing fruit, and the seed in it. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and the seasons and the days and the years. And let them be lights in the dome and the sky to give light upon the earth." And it was so. God made the two great lights, the greatest light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. God set them in the dome of the sky to give light upon the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the dome of the sky." So God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves, of every kind with which the waters swarm, and every winged bird of every kind, and God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures of every kind, cattle and creeping things, and wild animals of the earth of every kind." And it was so. And God made the wild animals on the earth of every kind, and the cattle of every kind, and everything that creeps upon the ground of every kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the wild animals of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." God said, "See, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in the fruit. You shall have them for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life. I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day.
Will you please stand for the gospel reading?
Go to that mic, because this one's not on.
The gospel reading is Mark 26 to 32, the parable of the growing seed. He also said, "The kingdom of God is as if someone would scatter seed on the ground and would sleep and rise night and day, and the seed would sprout and grow. He does not know how. The earth produces itself, first the stalk, then the head, then the full grain in the head. But when the grain is ripe, at once he goes in with his sickle because the harvest has come." This is the parable of the mustard seed. He also said, "With what can we compare the kingdom of God, or what parable will we use for it? It is like the mustard seed, which when sown upon the ground is the smallest of all seeds on earth. Yet when it is sown, it grows up and becomes the greatest of all shrubs, and puts forth little branches so that the birds of the air can make their nests in its shade." Thanks be to God.
Would the children please come forward? Yay! Brielle's coming. This is one of my favorite books that I want to share with you today. And I want to bring the turtle down, because this book is called Old Turtle. Once, long ago, yet somehow not so very long, when all the animals and rocks and winds and waters and trees and birds and fish and all the beings of the world could speak and understand one another, they began an argument. It began softly at first, quiet as the first breeze that whispered, "He is the wind who is never still." Quiet as the stone that answered, "He is the great rock that has never moved." Gentle as the mountain that rumbled, God is a snowy peak high above the clouds. And the fish and the ocean answered, God is a swimmer in the dark blue depths of the sea. No, said the star. God is a twinkling and a shining far, far away. No, replied the ant. God is a sound and smell and a feeling who is very, very close. God, insisted the antelope, is a runner swift and free who loves to leap and race with the wind. She is great, murmured the willow, part of the world, always growing and always giving. You are wrong, argued the island. God is separated and apart. God is like the shining sun, far above all things, added the blue sky. No, he is a river who flows through the very heart of things, thundered the waterfall. She is a hunter, roared the lion. God is gentle, chirped the robin. He is powerful, growled the bear. And the argument grew louder and louder and louder until stop! A new voice spoke. It rumbled loudly like thunder, and it whispered softly like a butterfly sneezes. The voice seemed to come from, it seemed to come from Old Turtle. Old Turtle hardly ever said anything, and certainly never argued about God. But Old Turtle began to speak. God is indeed deep, she said to the fish in the sea, and much higher than the highest, she told the mountain. He is swift and free as the wind, and still and solid as the great rock, she said to the breeze and the stone. She is the life of the world, Turtle said to the willow. Always close by, yet beyond the farthest twinkling light, she told the ant and the star. God is gentle and powerful, above all things and within all things. God is all that we dream of and all that we seek, said Old Turtle. All that we come from and all that we can find. God is. Old Turtle had never said so much before. All the beings of the world were surprised and became very quiet. But Old Turtle had one more thing to say. There will soon be a new family of beings on the world, she said, and they will be strange and wonderful. They will be reminders of all that God is. And they will come in many colors and shapes, with different faces and different ways of speaking. Their thoughts will soar to the stars, but their free will walk on the earth. They will possess many powers. They will be strong and yet tender, a message of love from God to the earth, and a prayer from the earth back to God. And the people came. But the people forgot. They forgot they were a message of love and a prayer for the world. And they began to argue about who knew God and who did not, and where God was and was not, and whether God was or was not, And of all the people, and often the people misused their powers and hurt one another or killed one another. And they hurt the earth until finally even the forests began to die. And the rivers and the oceans and the plants and the animals and the earth itself. Because the people could not remember who they were or where God was. Until one day there came a voice growing like thunder, but as soft as a butterfly sneezes. Please stop. The voice seemed to come from the mountain who rumbled. Sometimes I see God swimming in the darks of the depth sea. And from the oceans who sighed, he is often among the snow-capped peaks reflecting the sun. From the stone who said, I sometimes feel the breath as he blows by. And from the breeze who whispered, I feel he is still present as he dances among the rocks. And the star declared, God is very close. And the island added, his love touches everything. And after a long, lonesome, and scary time, the people listened and began to hear and to see God in one another and in the beauty of all the earth. And old Turtle, well, he smiled. And so did God. So I have something to remind you of this story. I have a turtle for you to take with you this day. To remind you. Yeah, I'm going to get you one. To remind you. I'll give you another color. That God is and will always be, and that we are here to take care of the earth. Okay?